Suswade Alavete, Vakshihi Suswade Alavete, Panduranga Hari Jai Jai, Panduranga Hari, 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 Panduranga, Panduranga, Panduranga Vitala, Panduranga, Panduranga, Panduranga Vitala, 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 Vitala,
Vitala, Jai Jai Panduranga Hare, Panduranga Hare.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to UChem, everyone. Thank you all for being here. So we'll just get started now. If you're joining for the first time, please do let me know or Chaitanya Nitai Nam know. And we'd love to introduce you to the group. And so today we've got a slightly action-packed kind of program. We're going to be starting off with our chapter a day for our Bhagavad Gita, and then we're going to be getting into a short reading of Srila Prabhupada's early magazine articles, along with a breakout room discussion, and then we will be ending off with some Srila Prabhupada Lamrita. And so there's a lot of opportunity for everyone to interact, so feel free to turn on your cameras, and then also when we do read together, feel free to raise your hands and join in. Before we get started with the program, we always start with a prayer. And the way it works is that someone nominates someone else to give that prayer, and then I will send the prayer format in the chat to help the
I
person who's
nominate
nominated.
Devon.
Who would like to nominate someone?
I nominate Parth.
You can feel free to put it in the chat or just raise your hand and say it.
I nominate Parth.
We have a nomination for Parth, and I second that.
All right, go ahead.
Dear Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji, if you so desire, please make this youth jam successful and let everybody learn at least one thing and let that thing keep in their heart forever. Haribol, please consider our request.
Thank you, Parth, for the wonderful prayer. All right, now we'll get right into it. Chaitanya Nitai Nam, who also recently initiated. We got a new name over here. I think it's his first time joining after that. He will be leading us in our shloka reading. Go ahead, Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna. All right, so as usual, we'll go through our Chad. We can't start off a program without Chad. It's the one thing that we should always keep going. That's why it's called chapter day, right? So if we get it up on the screen, still doing chapter 7, right? So since we have, I think I'll do the shlokas, and then, or should we divide them up? I think we have enough people. I think we can divide them up. Let's see, we'll get 10 participants to raise their hands. Whoever raise their hands first, they can get it. So if we get 10 volunteers, we'll do 3 shlokas each, and then we'll go back around to the translations. Or we have 1. Who else would like to read shlokas today? Okay, we have 2. Rajas. 3. That's it? Okay. Let's do 10 shlokas then per person. Bhakti Haridas, you can start off.
श्रीभगवान् उवाच मया सक्तमना पार्थ योगं युञ्जन् मदाश्रय असंशयं समग्रं मां यतः ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यज् ज्ञात्वा माम् अवशिष्यते मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद् यतिति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः भूमिरापो नलो वायु कं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इति यन्मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टता अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परं जीवभूता महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत् एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चित् अस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोक्तं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव रसोऽहम् अप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययो प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः के पौरुषं नृषु पुण्यो गन्धपृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ जीवानां सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनं बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमताम् अस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम्
Thank you.
Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasascha ye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैर् एभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम् दैवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतं तरन्ति ते न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढा प्रपद्यन्ते न राधमा मायया परितज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रिता चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जना सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्तः एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रिया उदारा सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम् बहुनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेव सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः कामैस्तैस्तैर्तज्ञाना प्रपद्यन्ते न देवता तं तं नियमम् आस्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया
Thank you, Brajesh. I saw another hand up earlier. Was it, I think it was Mayuri Rishabdev, was it? Yeah, you guys want to read? I see you have your group over there.
Yes. Yo yo yam yam tuna bhakta shraddhaya shritam ichati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tam eva vidyam sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanam ihate labate cha tatra kamat mayeva vihitam hitam. अन्धनातु फलं तेषां तद्भवन्त्यर्कमेधसां देवान् देवायुज्यो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिम् आपन्नं मन्यते मां प्रभूतया परं भावम् अजानन्तो मम व्यायम् अनुत्तमम् नाहं प्रकाश सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृता मूर्धोऽयं नावजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम् वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छद्वेषस्वरूपेण द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्वे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वान्तर्गतकर्मणां ते निर्मोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः जरामरणमोक्षाय माम् आश्रित्य यतन्ति ते ब्रह्म कृष्णम् आध्यात्मं कर्म कारिणाम्
You can finish it off. There's one more verse.
Sati buddhati daivam mamam sati yajnam cha ye vidu prayakale cha mam te vidur yukta chetasa.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Jnana Vijnana Yogo Nama Saptamodhyaya Hari Om. Thank you everyone for reading, and we can go back to the translations now. And again, if we get some volunteers, whoever raises their hand, yes, okay. All right, there we go. Nice. All right, let's do, so we have 5 volunteers, 6 volunteers. Amazing. All right, each person can do 5 translations. Parth, you can get us started.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you will know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinously. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there's another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entity who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature.
Thank you, Parth. Sivan?
All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the Vedic syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. The syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound of in ether and ability in man. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penance of all ascetics. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men.
Nitai.
Okay, Prabhuji. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex, life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna, know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am dependent. I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Deluded by the three modes, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me. Who am above the more than inexhaustible. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me.
O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me. These devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I can consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect good. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto the demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their natures.
I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to the particular duty.
Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed on me alone. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. But my devotees ultimately reach my supreme God.
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before. You have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme.
I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible.
O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but no one knows me. No, Shin of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by the dualities arising from desire and hate. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated are freed from dualities of delusion and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahmin because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Those in full consciousness of me who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone who volunteered and read today. Rian, don't worry, we'll have more for you just in a minute. I'll hand it off to Bradras and he can introduce us to the next part.
Hare Krishna. Does everyone like their chat of the day? Put up an emoji or whatnot. All right, now we're going to be moving on to the next part where so in our Prabhupada Lilamrita, we sometimes read Prabhupada's like early magazines and articles. And so we've chosen another one of those. This is from the 50s. And it's called All Compact in Thought. And so it's a quick article. It'll take us a few minutes to read through it. But I want all of you to take away some points from whatever you find interesting in that article, as we're going to be going into some breakout rooms to discuss all that. And so whatever you find interesting, feel free to write it down or just keep it in your head. And then if you want to participate in the reading, please do raise your hand. We'll be doing 3 paragraphs each. And I'll get us started. All compact in thought. The poet, the lunatic, and the lover are always compact in thought, without any realistic vision. The godless leaders of the people are also compact in thought, in repeated conferences and meetings, without any realistic idea. And the Bhagavad Gita, 16:11, gives them lessons in the following words. Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kama pabhoga parama etavad iti nishchita. Wordings: Chinta aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kama upabhoga parama etavat iti nishchita. Synonyms: Chinta, thoughts; aparimeya, immeasurable; cha, and; pralayanta, extending to the end of life; upashrita, covering; kama, sense gratification; upabhoga, enjoyment. Parama, to the highest limit. Etavat, up to this. Iti, only. Nishchita, so concluded. All right, Parth, you can lead us to the next part. 3 paragraphs each.
Godless leaders falsely thoughtful conclude that sense gratification to the highest limit is the ultimate goal. Such thoughts endear them till the time of annihilation, and there's no limit for such extensive thought. Godless leaders do pose themselves as very much thoughtful, but the range of such thoughts cannot transcend the limits of sense gratification. Such attitude of thoughtfulness in an immeasurable way cannot help them solving the problems of life. As such, the illusory energy Maya laughs at them when they are seriously thoughtful, like an iron man. Many such iron men come and go, but the laws of nature are never changed. The tides of the river flows down as it is on the sun or the moon, their regular routine, work regardless of disasters that take place on the surface of the earth as the result of such thoughtful attitude. Mother Earth has had a wide experience of such thoughtful leaders come and go. Not to speak of Mother Earth, even our Mother India has had seen many kings and leaders come and go, living in her alms house for a few years only. Mother India has seen in the past and Hindu rulers up to Emperor Ashoka, modern rulers up to the descendants of Aurangzeb, and the English rulers up to the end of 1947. And she is now experiencing the ruling capacity of her own children. But the funny thing for her is that when a king or a party fights with the rival, claiming India or part of it as his party own plaything, Mother India sees them and laughs at them when such a king and party leaves her tap after the period of illusory activities. Without any account of the past and the present, thoughtful leaders think that they can make a permanent solution of things without any reference to help of God.
Dr. N.V. Banerjee, while discussing at UNESCO seminar at New Delhi, Friday, 23rd March 1956, on the matter of impact of social changes on contemporary thought, said like this: the basic conflict in contemporary India is between the scientific attitude and the scientific method of thinking on the one hand and the transcendental modes of thinking on the other. The most pressing challenge before the thinkers in the country today is how to seek ways and means of resolving the conflict. Modern scientific thought is basically wrong because such thoughts are the products of the changing mind, a subtle form of material elements. Transcendental modes of thinking is basically right because it emanates from the realm of eternal spirit or the deeper aspect of human personality.
Deterioration, or rather deviation from that deeper aspect of human personality to the vulgar ways of the flickering mind has made it possible for the decline in the qualitative level of recent Bengali literatures. This was rightly observed by Dr. Ganguly in the UNESCO seminar. Such vulgar thoughts up to the end of one's duration of life makes the mental speculator, a laughing stock in the eyes of the section of contemporary people, one who has relation in the transcendental modes of thinking is always fixed up in the program or plane of the material nature and does not lament over flickering things, neither does he concentrate in his serious thoughts over them. In Devanagari, Gatasun Agatamsumscha Nanusoshanti Pandita, the luminous thoughts of the atheist is based on the principles of sense gratification. The rasa theory has propounded by Dr. Nagendra, professor of Hindi, are also of two varieties: the rasa created by thought, but rasa created by the created by material scientific thoughts is perpetually perplexing to the creator as well as to the enjoyer of such thought, but rasa created by the transcendental modes of thinking is not only non-perplexing, but also ever increasingly pleasing to the deeper aspect of human personality. The rasa life of Bhagavad is different from such mundane quality of rasa.
Keshav?
The materialist who thinks on the mental plane cannot go beyond the purview of the lower senses subordinate to the actions of mind. The worlds of contemporary thoughts are overwhelmed by the different qualities of lusty thoughts directed by direct conceptions of the material senses. There are stages of raising the standard of thoughts by the transcendental method. The ephemeral thinkers are called pratyakshabadi, i.e., meaning class of thinkers who can realize directly only by direct perception in the name of scientific mode of thinking. But their stages of thinking process on the transcendental or supramental plane, and they're called purakshya, aporakya, aprakrita, and adokyaja, stages of perfection. Sense-gratificatory pratyaksha or scientific mode of thinking is the lowest stage of thinking than the above-mentioned 4 stages of transcendental modes of thinking. Parokshya stage is the beginning of the transcendental mode of thinking. Aparokya stage is the stage of realization of one's deeper aspect of existence. Aprakrit stage is the platform of Vasudev, wherein perfection, transcendental modes of thinking, is reached at, and in that platform the relation of the living entity with the Supreme Lord Vasudev is transcendentally realized. And the Dokshaja stage of transcendental realization is the tasting of transcendental rasas in terms of transcendental activities of service, friendship, parenthood, and nuptial relationship with the Supreme Lord. The conflict of scientific mode of thinking and that of the transcendental plane can be resolved by the parampara system of understanding the Bhagavad Gita.
And Vivan, the close?
The atheists with poor fund of knowledge do stick to the lowest stage of human life in the matter of direct sense perception only, without any attempt to rise up to the other stages of supermundane existence. He thinks, therefore, of the perverted rasas, which are always disturbing in sense gratification, without any knowledge of the deeper aspect of human activity, cognizant of the transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord.
Thank you everyone for participating in the reading. Now we will be going into our breakout rooms and we will see you all back in around 10 to 15 minutes.
Haribo Arushi, are you having trouble joining a room? Hare Krishna Arushi, are you available?
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare
Let's all sing together.
I think we're just waiting for the other room to make it back. All right, looks like we almost have everyone. All right, Hare Krishna, everyone. How was everyone's breakout room discussion? Was it good?
Yes.
Yes, okay, wonderful. Now what we're gonna do is since we've all discussed it, I'd love to have you all share maybe one thing that you heard someone else say in your breakout room. So if you like something that someone else said in your breakout room, feel free to raise your hand and you can share on their behalf. And please do also give them credit for their wonderful reflection. Parth, you can get us started.
So in our breakout room, we were talking about like thoughtful, like in the magazine it talks about like thoughtful, like it says that godless leaders do pose themselves as very much thoughtful. And I really like the response that Keshav said because he was talking about like how thoughtful can mean like can also say that like leaders just like in the Bhagavad Gita it says that like people who have like a high standard, like common people just follow them. And then he related it also to Srimad Bhagavatam, and that really touched.
Thanks, Parth. Thank you for sharing that. Any other reflections from the breakout rooms that anyone has? Nitai, were you raising your hand or were you just stretching? You're stretching. Anything else that or maybe your own reflection if you want to share something that you like sharing in the breakout room, but you want to tell everyone? Agniba, go ahead.
I like somebody, I think it was Sanvi who said that like basically good leaders, like we were talking about how what the right things that good leaders should do. It was about like having Krishna in your center and having Krishna in your heart. And then I gave like a practical example of like a value and like some things that can be learned from Krishna, like in different scenarios, whether it's the Mahabharata, whether it's the Ramayana, or and like all of the situations, Krishna has been in earth in like many forms, and he has handled all situations in different ways, not just one way. So like learning from that, good leaders, they should like lead in different ways based on the kind of problem. Like leaders have a lot of problems, but if you just handle it in one way, problems will arise. As like, and also in the article, as it said about like a lot of leaders, the main problem, the main reason for the downfall was just a one-way handling, a one-way leading. So basically, good leaders should like adapt this from Krishna, where they lead in different ways depending on the problems.
Thank you, Agniba. That's wonderful. You kind of summed up a lot of different points that my group also was talking about. Parth, go ahead.
So like my reflection was that thoughtful can mean like a lot of things, like demonstrating thought or careful consideration, kindness, or consideration for others. And godless leaders don't do any of that. They just think they are doing that. Also, we were talking about sense gratification, and all godless leaders want sense gratification, right? All they want is sense gratification just to get that stuff. So like that, they think they're doing everything, right? Like when everybody follows them, they're saying, oh yeah, I'm doing such a great job and everything's perfect. But what they're actually doing is that people are just blindly following him because he is a leader, right? And leaders guide other people because they are like caring for others. So, yeah.
Thank you, Parth. Vivan.
So, I actually wanted to think about that a bit more. So what me and Coven were like kind of saying the same thing in our group. So me and Coven were saying that all compact in thought basically, oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong question. The question was like how what would we say to thought to leaders? Like what would you say to leaders who are doing self gratification? So what me and Coven were both saying was that instead of blindly following, what we would say is like people aren't like from a village. They understand like what is going on, and over time people will understand that you're just trying to get everything for yourself and you're not actually giving anything back to the community, and they always have a choice of who to pick as a leader. So what me and Coven were saying was that to persuade the leader to not do gratification as much as what they were doing before, we would explain that uh like they understand what you're doing, and then over time they will pick a new leader because they're just not getting a lot of good things from you.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Thank you, Vivan. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Chaitanya Nitainam, do you have any reflections from the breakout room yourself?
I had a thought similar to what Jagat Prabhu, who joined our group halfway through, was also sharing, which was really nice in terms of what we should expect for modern leaders to be taking away from our philosophy. And it's basically the idea that they should seek this guidance because, leaders act like they know everything. And as we've seen in the article, Mother Earth kind of sees at them and laughs at that experience because they come and go and they implement some sort of seemingly great solution, but it's not that impactful, it's not significant, it's not really permanent as they think it is. But they should be seeking guidance from their superiors. They should be seeking their guidance from their superiors and authorities and teachers, as uh, in the past, the kings and administrators, as Jagat Prabhu was pointing out, which was they would seek guidance from the brahmanas in society. So there was that sort of dynamic in society that it's not really there anymore. In India, there's that example he also mentioned where still political leaders there have some sense, to some extent, of piety and religious predisposition, but many other leaders in other parts of the world don't have that. I was really just, appreciating that reflection he shared, and I also had that similar thought. So it was really nice.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Well, that's a perfect note to end on. I'll hand it over to you now for the last part of our program.
All right, so we'll be reading from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, and since we already have some sort of exposure to Prabhupada's life at that time, or at least what he was thinking about meditating on, now we can look at his life story. So we can have 6 readers since we don't have too much time, but we'll have about 6 readers to volunteer. All right. Parth, Nitai, Agnipa, couple more. Govinda Prabhu, yes. Maitali, okay. Perfect. Parth, why don't you get us started? We'll have you read 3 paragraphs.
When he arrived in Kolkata in the spring of 1954, he was without money. He chose to live with his godbrothers at the Gaudiya Sangya in Chetala, the same neighborhood his family lived in. Since he had no money, he heard of the ashram bore his expenses. Abhay gave daily discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam, which the Gaudiya Shala brahmacharis highly appreciated. Krishna Korma Brahmachari, even after he left, his sweet melodious voice would ring in my ears. He used to often express a desire to go abroad and preach. One of his sons was running a small business, Vittalom Laboratory, and thus supported the family. Abhay knew that his wife had not been interested in his work in Jhansi. His son had been there, but not been impressed. The family would see his preaching in Jhansi as a threat to their home life. Abhay, however, was sustaining himself by this vision. He was now taking practical shape of a world reformed by Krishna consciousness. He even thought of opening a branch of the League of Devotees in Kolkata.
Thank you, Parth. Nitai?
Preaching in oh wait. But eventually was plunged again into family responsibilities. Some of his children were still unmarried. Rent and bills had to be paid. Even if he were to develop the Melchon laboratory, the family would demand whatever he earned. And even if he were to accede to their demands, live at home and give up preaching, the greatest difficulty would still remain. They weren't serious about devotional service, nor could he change them. What was the use of conducting a business if they would not be devotees? He visited his family and the same old scene occurred. Local friends came to visit, and Abhay began giving Bhagavad Gita classes just as he had been doing in Jhansi. Meanwhile, his wife and the rest of the family would take tea in a separate room. Srila Prabhupada, I wanted as much as possible to get her to work with me in spending Krishna consciousness, to get her help. But she was very determined. She wouldn't help me in spreading Krishna consciousness. So finally, after many years, I could understand she would not be any assistant to me. He was to drinking tea. I always tell her not to drink tea because I wanted to have a nice Vaishnava family. So although when Radharani made a great mistake, there was a stem of bark considered valuable, and the shopkeeper would then balance it with an equal weight on merchandise. So while Abai was out, his wife took the worshipful Bhagavatam to the market and traded it for tea biscuits. When Abai looked for the book, she told him what had happened. She hadn't taken the matter as very serious thing. She was out of tea biscuits, but then a wave of absolute illusion passed over him. No. Family life was finished. Srila Prabhupada, before leaving my family,
You missed
all
it.
my sons and daughters married. But some of them, when he told them he was leaving, they didn't understand. Check. When he told he was leaving, they did. understand.
When he told you guys want to come back later. I think your guys are lagging out a bit. I'll continue. When he told them he was leaving, they didn't understand what he meant. He had been leaving for 30 years. He was always coming and going. When he walked out the door, they thought, there he goes again, he's leaving. It was the usual routine. Everyone could see, even the neighbors, Mr. Day was going again. He had been at home, now he was going. He would be back again. But Abhay knew he was never come back. Michael, you can pick it up.
To the Prabhupada. Before leaving my family, I wanted to get all my sons and daughters married, but some of them disagreed. But then the time was up. Never mind. Whether they are married or not, let me see to their own business. Let them see to their own businesses. Suppose I die immediately, who will take care of my daughter? At that time we say God will take care. Then why not now? God will take care. My Guru Maharaj used to say that renunciation of family life was civil suicide. If you commit suicide, that is criminal. But the renunciation of family is voluntarily committing suicide. Now I am dead. Whatever you like, you do. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, giving up all religions. So family is Graha Dharma, the religion of the family. But Krishna says, give that up. But that attachment is there. And if we say that feeling of attachment has to be given up gradually, then that we cannot do, then that we cannot do, because the attachment is there. But if God will take care of them, if I die immediately, then why not now? His spiritual emotions were so turbulent that he wasn't thinking of going to Jhansi. He wanted to take a train to anywhere. Then he remembered some old godbrother friends who were living in an ashram in Chakram, Chakram, only a short train ride south of Kolkata. So he borrowed 10 rupees from his friend and bought a ticket to Chakram.
It was a small mutt. When Abhay arrived, he was welcomed by Paramahamsa Maharaj, Damodar Maharaj, and others. Paramahamsa Maharaj had been present when Abhay had first met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and he remembered Abhay as he had looked then, dressed in white khadi, looking like a Gandhian anarchist. Abhay explained to him, I couldn't fulfill my family's needs, so now let me preach the message of Lord Chaitanya. Abhay told him how his business had failed and how he had willingly left his family and now was destitute. Paramahamsa Maharaj. When Abhay arrived, he appeared very poor, starving. He had no means. He came alone to the mart, and when he arrived, he only chanted Hare Krishna, nothing else. Abhay spent his time in Jhargram, chanting the holy name and becoming settled in detachment from his family. For several days, he chanted japa almost continuously. Paramahamsa Maharaj would lecture in the evenings, and then Abhay would also speak on Bhagavad Gita. But as time passed, his thoughts turned to Jhansi again, and he soon felt ready to go back to the League of Devotees. He had to secure the buildings and go on with the preaching. But before returning, he obtained a large deity of Lord Chaitanya that he planned to install at the Bharati Bhavan. Ironically, he had gone to Calcutta to do business and raise money, but now he had no business, no money, no business, and no family responsibilities. He'd been married for 36 years, and now, at age 58, he had fully taken to the Vanaprastha order. Now he could dedicate his life fully to preaching Krishna consciousness.
All right, that's what I close it off.
Okay. Abhay did not adopt the saffron dress of a vanaprastha, but continued wearing a white dhoti and kurta. The people of Jhansi had always known him as a preacher with no family, ever since he had first arrived, a year and a half before. Now he was returning to them with the deity of Lord Chaitanya and a determination to establish Lord Chaitanya's temple in Jhansi. Abhay was met with a warm welcome from Acharya Prabhakar and others, but he also met with a competition for possession of the Radha Memorial. It began with a Sanskrit conference, the Bundelkhand Sanskrit Sammelan, which brought to Jhansi the governor of the province, K.M. Munshi, and his wife Leelavati. An active social organizer, Leelavati Munshi had opened several branches of the Mahila Samitya Sangha, society that aimed at socially uplifting women by teaching them secretarial skills and English. To educate the Jhansi ladies, Chandramukhi and Suryamukhi wanted such a women's social program for Jhansi, and they took the opportunity to approach Leelavati Munshi during her visit. She inspired them, and they began to talk about where in Jhansi they could open one of her social centers. Perhaps, suggested one of the ladies, the Bharati Bhavan could be used. Although Suryamukhi Sharma had been one of the sympathizers who had first approached Mr. Bhayal on behalf of Abhay Charan Dey and had asked that he had be given the Bharati Bhavan for his League of Devotees, she felt that the lady's cause was more important. She knew that Abhay's ownership of the buildings was not settled. So agreed that the building would be an excellent facility for a Mahila Samitya Sangha branch, and that their cause was more urgent than Abhay Charan's. So Suryamukhi, assured of support by the governor's wife, called on A.C. Bhaktivedanta. She explained that his League of Worldwide Vaishnavas would never take shape. He was such a nice person, and she liked him. But she did not think that he could realize his extraordinary expectation. She suggested that he vacate Bharati Bhavan so that the governor's wife could organize a women's social center. You can go here and there for the sake of building a temple, she told him. You're free to travel anywhere, but these poor women in Jhansi have nothing. So they must be given these buildings for their use. She found him adamantly opposed.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Haridas, and everyone else who read today. It's a really sweet reading session in both the Lilamrita and the Back to Godhead passage. So I'll hand it back to Brajras and any closing statements or announcements.
Thank you everyone for taking a part in the reading. And now we will be closing our session for the day. Please do join us next time. So we'll be here next week with Maharaj, and we'll hope to see you then. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
See you next week.